The importance of the waypoint to Bainbridge Island is that it really provides a gateway that is inviting to the people that come here. The city took an unusual role in the development of the park. Often the city, does all the planning and all the execution. In this case, members of the community came to the city and the transport organization and said, we think we can make a difference by raising some money, getting more people involved, and making this a jewel of the island. And the change in that venue has been dramatic. It went from a chain link fence around a hazardous waste site to now a place where people gather and meet when they're coming onto the island or leaving the island.
The city's role in the partnership was helping to work through the various permitting processes that we had to go through. The city's process was also to work with the partnerships. There were a lot of legal issues that needed to be resolved, or the agreements, the interlocal agreements that needed to be arranged. Making sure that all was done with risk management in mind, of course.
We ran it more or less like a traditional capital campaign where we tried to get major gifts up front so that we'd have a really good running start. So if you were going to be a donor and wanted a bench with your name or family name on it, it was $5,000. Then we had a public campaign. There's a man on the island who retired from the direct advertising business, and he did a letter for us, and we sent it out to something like 6,000 households, and we raised about $44,000.
We were fortunate in engaging one of the nicest and most wonderful architects in the world, John Paul Jones. John Paul Jones is the architect that built the Native Museum on the Mall in Washington, D.C. He lives on the island. When we told him what we had in mind, he immediately volunteered. In fact, he donated his $37,000 fee to the project. And when people began to get examples of how people are jumping on board to help us, it was very easy, because this is a project that everybody wanted to be part of. And so we had hundreds and hundreds of people that raised their hand and said, I'll help you when you get ready to dig or plant or whatever, I'll be happy to help you.
This was a process that involved literally hundreds of people, which is one of the things that made it so exciting. We had a steering committee of several dozen people, and I ended up sort of working in the part of it that related to legal issues, regulatory issues, political issues. So it was kind of broad, but I'm an attorney by trade, and so I was able to bring some expertise to that.
Our role in this project was regarding signage. We were called in early in the discussions to talk about keeping the signage consistent. In tourism, you always want to make sure that the tourist is able to find out where they are and where they want to go. So the signage that's shown here is part of a concept that started about 5 years ago. We asked them to keep that in mind when they designed it. So we went with the original designer that did the signs 5 years ago, used him again for the same signs.
There's a lot of people walking. A lot of people drive, of course, but so many people walk as commuters. So it's a fairly unusual sight in a way, because there's so many people that work in Seattle that live here. And for many of them who have seen that being a vacant site for so many decades, literally, and seemingly nothing was ever going to happen to the site, it's this huge relief. It's always that comment, oh, it was so ugly for so long, and now look what it's becoming. So it's a real sense of things can happen that are good.